Hey y'all, Fat Man Outdoors, back for part two of Is It a Weapon System or a Rock? Now we talked about a lot of stuff in the last video about what kind of weapon you'd need for your everyday carry, for your defense, a little bit about holsters, and about learning the system. Okay, well, that's a very, very important part of what you got to do. But you also have to actually put the time in using the weapon in situation for training. We've got set up a little cardboard target here that we're going to train on a little bit. And I'm going to use that little air pistol I was talking to you guys about, the little Glock. So it's not a thing I have to worry about wearing ear protection and all that, and everything's safe for my hearing. But you'll see as I use this, the operation of the weapon is the same. So what I'm going to do is just real quick, I'm going to go over proper way to take your weapon from your holster to address the target and to fire on the target. Okay? So it's a real world situation. You're not necessarily always going to be able to stand square to your target and your feet at shoulder width and all that business. Some stuff's going to happen pretty quick. But as a general learning tool that's going to learn you to handle the weapon, this will be just fine. So what you're going to need to do is assess the situation. You have a threat in front of you. You see that it's going to be a threat that you're going to have to stop, or they're going to try to cause you bodily harm. Understand this. I'm not telling you to shoot anybody. I'm not telling you when you need to draw a weapon. You have to work that out for yourself, and you need to read the laws of your state and make sure what you can and can't do. Okay? Got that? I'm no lawyer. I'm no cop, so don't take my word for it. But okay, I have addressed this threat isn't going to stop, and I need to defend myself. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw my weapon with my pointer finger not in the trigger well, and until I get parallel to the ground with the weapon, then I'm going to move my finger to the hole where the trigger is, the trigger guard, and I'm going to come up with my hand just like this, find the target and fire on it. Okay, let's do that again from the holster. Alright, so I'm going to draw from the holster. I'm going to come up with this hand, finger out of the trigger well, coming up level, following it with my other hand, firing on the target. See that? Let's do it one more time. I want to come out of the holster. My finger is away from the trigger, out of the trigger guard. As I come parallel to the ground, my offhand is going to come up. My finger is going into the trigger well. Got the front sight on target. Okay? That's all there is to it, guys. But you have to train at it. Okay? You have to train at it. And here's another thing. You're not always going to have a situation where that target is 10 feet away. Sometimes that target is going to be up here, okay? And you're going to have to make a decision. So now if you draw your weapon and go out here with it, there's a good chance he's going to grab it before you get to shoot it, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to have to do something a little more tricky. You're going to have to fire from the hip, like old West days. You're going to have to draw, come here and shoot, okay? And then after you make the first shot, then you're going to back up and then make two more if you need them, okay? Let's try that. So you're going to draw. Immediately after you draw, your finger's going to go into the trigger well. So I'm going to go slow. It's going to go into the trigger well. Okay? Let's do that one more time. All right, we'll go a little bit faster this time. You ready? Here we go. Okay, and you cleared distance. You got distance between you and that target. Watch your feet, keep them apart, watch your footwork so you stay balanced, okay? One more time. All right, here we go. All right, there you go, guys. You've immobilized that target more than likely. If not, you've got distance between you and him now, so then you can make a decision. Okay, you're still up here with your gun in the ready position. You can make a decision. If he's still coming, put one right there and he stops. Okay? That's what happens. That's how you have to handle yourself. But it takes you. You have to train. You have to do this. a lot, repetitively, so that you're safe with this firearm and you're proficient against that guy. Because guys, if you don't get proficient, if you don't practice, if you don't make yourself good enough at this to make this something that can defend you, it's a rock. Okay guys, there's one other thing I kind of want to go over with you. Every situation you get in is not going to immediately require you to draw and shoot. Some situations you'll get in, the mere sight of showing that you're armed and letting that threat know you don't need to mess with me can stop the situation and get you out of a situation where you don't have to fire. By that I mean, old Bob Cardboard there, he's wanting to start trouble again. Okay, I see him. I said, now Bob, just calm down, man. I don't want no trouble. Bob ain't having it. He pops his knife out of his belt. I do this. Bob, don't come no closer. Back up. I'm telling you, dude, I'll shoot. Back up. Bob backs up, that's fine. I give Bob time to do his thing. And as long as I can see him, I don't put this away. And then once I see he's walking away and he's got a good distance from me and he's got his back to me, okay, then I'll go back to my holster. But if it comes to it and he won't leave, but he ain't advancing, this could be important. Again, read your state laws, ask questions if you don't know the answers. I'm still going to have my pistol out, and I'm going to back away. I'm going to say, Bob, I'm leaving. Just don't bother me, man. I'm going to do my best to get as far away from Bob as I can, facing him, watching where I'm walking, every now and then looking over my shoulder, make sure I'm not going to trip over something, because if you trip over something and your gun goes flying, then Bob's probably going to get you, okay? But that's what you need to learn. You need to practice that as well, that not always are you going to be required to pull the trigger if you have to pull your weapon, but always be prepared to pull the trigger if you pull your weapon. Now, another thing, you want to learn and get used to this being part of your training yourself and getting proficient, that not only do you want Bob to see that weapon, you want Bob to know repeatedly, don't mess with me. I don't want to hurt you, but I can. All right, so Bob's starting trouble. I see Bob, here he comes. So now Bob, just calm down, don't want no trouble. Bob pulls his knife, okay? I immediately take my weapon out. This is front ready, okay? And you say, Bob, stop or I'll shoot. Stop or I'll shoot. Bob keeps coming, okay? Then you put Bob where he should be. All right, you got to defend yourself. That's the mentality that you have to have. That if Bob's not going to stop and he's going to continue to try to threaten you and try to hurt you, and he's advancing, you have to make a decision one of two ways. Do I hope he'll get right here and decide, nah, man, I was just seeing if you take a bluff. I'm just joking with you, bud. Or are you going to wait till he gets right there and he cuts your belly open? See, I don't want him to cut my belly open. There's a lot of stuff in there. I've been packing that stuff for years. Of course, he could probably try to cut my belly open and have to make 4 or 5 swipes before he got to anything important. Takes a long time to get through one of them truck tires, but anyway. But like I said, guys, it's imperative you teach yourself. And again, guys, don't think you know it all. I don't know it all. I mean, I'm trying to like do videos for stuff like this for dummies, because guess what? I'm a dummy. I try to learn stuff, and I try to experiment with stuff, and I read a lot of stuff so that I kind of halfway know what I'm talking about, and then I'll practice it myself and see how it works. Now, if I see something that works better, then I'll try that, you know. But this is seriously where you need to be if you're going to carry a weapon for your defense. If you're going to put something on your hip or in your purse or on your ankle or in your waist or whatever, and it's going to be your go-to in a situation where you could die or somebody in your family could die, then you have to have two things built up. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger strong? Two things. Number one, the most important that I think is you have to have your mentality of, I will defend my person and my family. You have to build that up. You have to convince yourself, if it comes to that point, I have to be able to do this. Number two, I have to be able to do this efficiently and by the book. Okay, if you get out here and you shoot somebody and it goes to court, and no matter what that person was doing, you can't explain the situation well enough to prove you had no choice, you could very well go to jail for manslaughter or maybe even murder for defending yourself if you can't prove you needed to. So we don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm going to make sure he's going to know first. Don't start no trouble. Back up, dude, before ever let him get to it that close, okay? But when he starts closing ground on me at about 10 yards, I'm going to take this and I'm going to let him know I've got it. I'm going to say, Bob, stop, dude. I will shoot. I'm going to let him know I have full intent on defending myself. And if he keeps advancing, he gets inside that 10-foot range, it's time to make a decision. It's me or Bob. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's Bob. I won't take it. And nobody else should. You got to put anything behind you that's going to worry you about whether or not you need to do this. I don't want to hurt nobody. And most people walking this earth don't want to hurt nobody. But there's a lot of people that will, because they think they can and get by with it. I got kids to raise. I got a wife. I got a family. I got a lot of fish yet to catch, and I don't want to give that up. I'm not going to let Bob take that. Okay? So guys, I hope this was helpful to you. Well guys, I hope this video was informative to you. I try to do it the best I could and not be too corny. You know, it is what it is. You need to practice, and it's my advice. If you don't think you're willing, mentally you're willing and able to use a handgun to defend yourself, don't carry it. You're way better off not to carry it. Learn to run, okay? Because if you're going to carry it and you're not mentally 100% willing and able to use it, and you draw that weapon on somebody and they're determined to call your bluff, they may very well take that weapon from you and use it on you, and you don't want that. Now when I say mentally willing and able, the willing part is, can I take initiative to pull the trigger on another human life? That's one thing. The ability, that's what we talked about on the other video. Learning that weapon system. Does it have a safety? How do I turn a safety off? Does it have a magazine? How do I change magazines? How do I reload it? How do I clear it if there's a jam? How do I aim it? These things are what you have to learn. This is last. This is the last thing you need to get proficient at. All the stuff we talked about in that other video, that's the stuff you need to learn first. Guys, I appreciate y'all watching. This is the Fat Man. I'm gone. Hey guys, if you liked the video, hit subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell so you get notifications the next time we put out a video. Appreciate you. It's the Fat Man. I'm gone.